Hello, in this video you'll find me agreeing with Level Earth Observer. Genuinely. I know, it's a rare moment in time. I'll give a quick summary for the final experiment. Because Level Earth Observer doesn't make his point that clear, I don't think. But in one of the videos, what he says is that the final experiment is a false dichotomy. They're going out searching for proof, with the idea that only two options are present. The Flat Earth model, or the Globe model. Both me and Level Earth Observer would agree that the final experiment, if we see a 24-hour sun in the South Pole, would disprove the Flat Earth model that most people are familiar with. But it doesn't exactly prove the Globe Earth model. Now Leo doesn't give any examples, but let me try. Now I am in agreement with the side of the Globe Earth, with the Earth being an oblate spheroid. But if we're just looking at the evidence of a 24-hour sun in both the North and South Pole, then a donut-shaped Earth could also be viable. So could an hourglass-shaped Earth. Trying to keep in line with flat earthers, you could just have a biconcave disk. You may still have to add in an extra sun, but you get the point. I know where Leo's going with what he says, and I know if I try to agree with him in his video, it may just go wrong. So I thought I'd make it quite clear, because Raptor Earth theory may also be applicable in this scenario. So I'm still definitely on the side of Globe Earthers here. Now, I'm not sure what to recommend to resolve this false dichotomy issue. In truth, I'm not exactly sure it really is one, because that's assuming that the final experiment is the evidence and the only evidence that we have, which isn't the case. The Flat Earth hypothesis is just a competitor to the current standing globe model. I guess my recommendation is to at least address the false dichotomy claim and explain why it's important and how you're going to deal with it, or why it's not important for this experiment. Otherwise, people will use it as a fallacy to discredit the final experiment itself, especially if it's left unaddressed. It's just going to end up as a scapegoat. And I don't know if we should put this suggestion on the side of flat earthers here, because we've got to remember, Leo isn't a flat earther, as he claims in every video. He never tells us what he actually is. He says demonstrable realist, but to me that sounds like a globe earther, which he claims he isn't. It doesn't tell us anything when he also denies what he says. That being said, let's just have a look at what he actually says in his videos. Because maybe the final experiment needs to add a third option, if Leo ever actually explains what that option is.
But here's the thing, guys. If the sun does circle in Antarctica for 24 hours in December, it doesn't prove a globe.
No, specifically on its own it doesn't. But with all the other evidence that we have, or collectively, we can disregard all the shapes I tried to suggest earlier, including flat Earth, any form of level Earth. We can get rid of the idea of donut Earth and Raptor Earth as well. All the evidence, when collected together, show us a globe Earth. All the evidence exists in reality, has been conducted in reality, and has been demonstrated multiple times. Just thought I'd add that little bit on the end there. The only other option we have is the alien zoo theory, or some form of simulation theory, which none of these actually directly suggest the shape of the Earth, but instead present everything as an illusion. Potentially, like the alien zoo could still be on a globe, but it could also mean that they've just created everything in some sort of reality simulator. Maybe the sky is a dome, and it's a screen, and maybe we can go to space, but we still see that screen. And we can never go past the screen, but that screen is the Kuiper Belt. I don't know. At this point, I feel like I'm just making stuff up.
It just shows you this concept, this alternative product that was put out there that quite a lot of people bought into. It means this alternative product to the globe, one with a circling sun above it, it means this product has problems. It doesn't mean suddenly demonstrable reality is wrong and the globe Earth theory is correct.
This is the part I'd like to agree on, but was a bit concerned that it might make me anti-globe. Hopefully my previous statements have made it clear what I feel about this.
No, it just means the alternative product that was put out there has problems.
I completely agree. That flat Earth model makes absolutely no sense. Feel free to explain what you can demonstrate in reality that proves whatever it is that you believe in, Leo.
I don't buy into products. I simply stand by what is.
Again, which is...
Here's the incredible telling thing regarding this whole thing. The fact that globe earthers think an observation is an experiment.
And your request has generally been, go on a plane and hang a pendulum from the ceiling and observe it to prove that he's wrong. That would also classify as an observation, which you said you would accept.
The only way they can justify that is it debunking, in their eyes, an alternative product. And as a result, they think they've proven their impossible spherical globe Earth in a vacuum. Think about the mindset of these people. Think about the logic, or lack of.
So this is part of the reason why I don't like Leo, because he generally just goes off on one, saying how he doesn't like people and then just continuously insulting them. Which, if I believe, is just ad hominem. He's just trying to attack the characters of these people and just trying to discredit them to usually, in this case, present their own theory as being better. But Leo doesn't have one. I use theory loosely there because technically it would be a hypothesis, but you know what I mean. It's a great position to take, isn't it? Flat Earth isn't real, globe Earth isn't real, try and disprove my theory. But I'm not telling you what that is.
The alternative product, and particularly the people that somehow think an observation that highlights the problems of an alternative product is somehow proof of an impossible world being real. This is fucking insane, lads. I'll state it. This is a demonstrable fact. The Earth, the globe Earth theory, is obviously impossible. Because if it was real, we wouldn't be having experiments, final experiment, which are just observations that don't have any practicality to back up its fundamental claims anyway.
Look, Leo, if you claim that you're not a flat earther, and the model they're trying to prove against, that flat earth model, isn't your model, then the final experiment isn't about you, is it? And if you think it is, maybe you have more in common with flat earthers than you think. You claim to be a demonstrable realist. You also claim the globe Earth is impossible, and you have yet to prove it. You're making a statement that you believe to be factual, you claim to be a demonstrable realist. These two things are not going together. If you want to be a demonstrable realist, demonstrate it and prove what you're saying to be true, before you go on talking about it as fact. The experiment to show the 24-hour sun in both of the poles does a lot more than your pendulum in an aeroplane experiment, which you also haven't demonstrated is impossible.
The only thing the final experiment will do is get rid of an alternative product that's been sold to people.
I disagree. I don't even think it will do that. The flat earthers, generally speaking, will find a way to make whatever is found work. They'll claim it to be new evidence to back up their claim of a more specific and unreliable version of flat Earth. And quite frankly, probably an even worse version of the flat Earth model. And that's if they want to seem somewhat realistic. Because David Weiss was offered a free ticket on this experiment and declined, and just simply continued to discredit the experiment entirely, saying that he doesn't trust the person running it.
Never bought the alternative product. I actually hope there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, because it means this place is far more magical and interesting than I originally thought.
Ah, so you'll accept magic instead of a globe. You'll accept magic as a demonstrable realist. Are you sure you know what you're saying?
Demand full exploration and a fresh new start. Because this is silly. You're just going round in circles.
We all are, Leo. We're all going round in circles. Every single day, we go round in one circle.
And if it is there is a 24-hour sun, it just gets rid of one product.
Oh yes, it does just get rid of one of the options out of all of the so many viable options. I would just love to know what these other options are.
We've already gotten rid of this, so if we get rid of this product, what are we left with? Demonstrable reality, which we can all test and verify for ourselves. So this is a blessing in disguise. I love it.
Okay, to start with, you haven't got rid of the globe. Not from what I've seen of your videos anyway. Maybe you're holding back on some secret knowledge. We already know that you're not talking about what you actually believe, but maybe you have some secret knowledge about the Earth that we don't know that you've already disproven to not be a globe. And then if we do see a 24-hour sun, that would pretty much get rid of that flat Earth model you see there. And what do we have left? Well, nothing really. If we have got rid of the globe and then we get rid of flat Earth. I recommended some earlier, but they really don't match any of the other physics that we know of. So quite literally at this point, it's going to be no Earth theorists out there. That being said, we have another video to go through, which he referenced in this. It was a video he made slightly before, but I thought we could quickly go over a few points.
Nothing in the sky, lads. Nothing in the sky will ever refute demonstrable reality. The practical references we can test and verify for ourselves.
If nothing in the sky will refute demonstrable reality, what do you think demonstrable reality is? Because if it exists and it's there in the sky, then it is demonstrating itself to exist, right? Oh, I think I figured it out actually. He's not meaning demonstrable reality. He's meaning denying reality. He's just got the words mixed up.
But what's been incredibly revealing here is the globe believers' desperation and attempts to try and misrepresent me by putting me in the mix of this final experiment.
You can't be misrepresented if you haven't presented your representation. You haven't told anyone what you are, apart from a demonstrable realist, which makes you a globe earth believer, but then you deny the globe earth, and then go off on one like a flat earther, because it seems obvious to me that not even you know what you believe in, so how do you expect others to understand your position?
Attaching straw man maps and models to me that have never been my claims, and also claims regarding the sun and what it does in the south. Again, I've never stated regarding the sun what it does in the south.
Most people who deal with the video you represent specifically, and I do find that you see a video talking about flat earthers, and then attack the video saying that you're not a flat earther, but in the video didn't mention you. More often than not, it seems like you associate yourself as a flat earther without saying it, and then blame others for thinking that you're the flat earther. And just to be clear, again, I did check the final experiments video, the participants, to see if Leo was in it. He wasn't.
Who cares if there's a 24-hour circling sun in the south? I don't.
Well, you see, this is because you're not a demonstrable realist. If you were, you'd care.
Doesn't refute anything I've ever said.
Many of the things I look into, I've never made a claim about, but I care about the end result, even if we haven't discovered it yet.
And what makes it worse, we've got flat earth characters online, seemingly speaking for everyone, when clearly and obviously not everyone believes the tosh that's being pushed by certain characters.
And that's fine if you feel that way. If you don't feel like your position is being represented, why not represent it yourself? Saying the words demonstrable realist and then not doing anything about it is just like the average theist who makes these random claims and hides behind a holy book, hoping that that'll be enough to cover their own arse.
Look!
If the thing happened at the South Pole and the 24-hour sun was seen, would that convince you the Earth was a globe?
Yeah, it would be a major problem for Flat Earth, for sure. I've said that on record 100 times.
Okay, no, I was just wondering, do you think that is the position of the majority of Flat Earthers?
Yeah.
And people wonder why I don't use the words flat earth.
Again, he was just asking for an opinion on whether that one individual thinks that. It's okay to be able to share opinions. If you don't agree with it, tell us your side of the story. It's pretty simple. I deal with theists most of the time, so I'm going to use them as an example again. But many people who are theistic and have the exact same beliefs as another person does not mean they believe in the exact same thing. And to differentiate from that, they can use their words and tell people.
No, Whitset, that's not the position of a majority of people.
Oh, so now you're the authority of the majority, are you? So just to be clear, that person in the video we just watched isn't allowed to say that, but you can.
I know lots of people who make no claims about Antarctica and lights in the sky. Do you know why?
Because they're in an echo chamber and haven't learned how to use stuff like incognito mode and Google Scholar or Google.
Because they haven't been there. And even if they did go there and there was some circling sun for 24 hours in December, it doesn't debunk demonstrable reality, does it? No.
No, you're right. It demonstrates it.
What it does debunk is your straw man maps and models that have been pushed by the mainstream and certain FE characters online.
And those FE characters online being the more dominant preachers of the flat earth theory, right? You know, the majority.
You got this character now, Whitset, claiming that all flat earthers are on board and it'll be a problem for the flat earth if this sun is circling in Antarctica for 24 hours.
No, he didn't actually say all flat earthers. We'll just rewind and have a quick look again.
Of the majority of Flat Earthers?
Yeah.
He very clearly said majority, not all. So he hasn't put you in that group. Also, he was talking about flat earthers, which you claim you're not one. So, again, he wasn't talking about you, even if he did say all. You're the one that put this in your video. Come on, Leo.
Well, I'm not a flat earther. I'm a demonstrable realist. And it's no problem for a demonstrable reality, mate.
So why are you bothered by it? By saying that he's talking about your group, whatever it is you believe in. You very specifically know that he's talking about flat earthers, but yet you still think he's talking about you. That'd be like me saying Christians believe that Jesus was the Son of God, and a Muslim coming up to me saying, I don't believe in that. Stop misrepresenting Islam.
Whatever goes on in the sky is not going to make tower cranes on a spinning ball a reality.
What is it that makes you think that tower cranes couldn't stand upright on a spinning ball, such as the globe? Because everything is moving with the globe, so if you think it's the air that's going to knock it over because the Earth is spinning and the air shouldn't be, the air's moving with it. If it has no resistance, it wouldn't have an issue, would it? But the air is moving with the rotation of Earth, with some variance, called wind, so there's nothing really to knock it over unless you have a massive gust of wind, in which they're designed to counteract, to some degree.
It's not going to make fucking air pressure systems be able to reside next to a vacuum without solid separation.
It doesn't need to be solid. It just needs to be some form of container. And that container is called gravity when we're talking about Earth's atmosphere. And because it's not solid, that means some does escape. That it's not really going to have the effect you think it is for a very, very, very long time.
And it's not going to make water, large standing bodies of water, suddenly have the ability to display convexity upon its surface.
You see, because you used the word in your name, I'd assume you'd have a good understanding of this. But water isn't flat. But water is level, because level is a reference to gravity. So, if gravity curves because the planet is spherical, then the water will curve too. And it's not just gravity that can make water curve. Surface tension can also make the water curve. If you put water on something hydrophobic, the water will globulate on top, creating a sort of ball-like structure as surface.
Gravity, the way reality presents itself, that's been termed gravity, that doesn't help, because that can be overcome by a gentle breeze. Therefore, it makes it, well, it doesn't help, it just makes it worse.
Gravity can be overcome with a sponge. If you get a glass of water and then put a sponge in the water just at the top, the water will get sucked up the sponge, defying gravity. It does this with something I mentioned earlier, surface tension. However, if you take the water out of the glass, hold it above the glass, and squeeze the sponge, the water's not going to float off in the air. Unless you squeeze it over a kettle and then turn the kettle on, it'll turn to steam, which is less dense than air, making it go up. I really don't understand your point here. This is basic stuff. As far as I understand it, you're claiming that gravity does actually exist. Based on what you just said, you're a demonstrable realist, you talked about gravity's effects, you must admit that it exists. Do you agree that gravity is what helped create the planet? That's something I want to know. I don't want to misrepresent you. If that's the case, why wouldn't it become a sphere if gravity is what created it? Because it would have to be somewhat equal in all directions, in a spherical direction. Now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I heard you once say it was silly that someone called the Earth a planet. It was something along those lines. So, if Earth isn't a planet, what is it?
I kind of had tremors about a year and a half ago, which is why I stopped using the words flat earth. I've always used them because they get an emotional response. Or sort of, people certainly respond in an emotional fashion to those words and have all sorts of knee-jerk reactions. I used to use those words to trigger and highlight people's behaviour and the misrepresentations attached to that.
Well, you see, if you are genuinely doing that, that's called deception. You're deceiving people by making them think you're something that you're not, and then complaining when you're successful at doing that.
I'm seeing a very, very crafty big game here at play, and I've just exposed all of it by simply standing by what is. Don't need to say a word, just cite practical references which prove the globe's impossible.
You said all you have to do is cite practical references. But there's no references at all. You haven't cited any references in the video, and in your description, all it says is demonstrable reality is all you need. That's not a reference. I could say pink unicorns rule the clouds in the sky and fly them all the time, and demonstrable reality is all you need. You've just told us that you don't understand certain things. Many people in the past have tried to explain these things to you, and you just go, nah, that's not demonstrable reality. Sorry to be the one that breaks that to you, but I know you're not going to listen anyway, so... Anyway, that was my recommendation to the final experiment, inspired by and while dealing with Leo, Level Earth Observer, at the same time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. There are 2 videos on screen right now. Feel free to click on one and I'll see you there.